It is exactly 3 years today since President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga stepped out of the doors of Harambe House for the famous handshake. But what was the real objective of the handshake? Was the handshake about peace, unity, and stability of the country? Or was the handshake intended by the president to help him take charge of his succession politics? Those are the questions I've been asking myself of late, based on the political developments in this country. Because let's face it, by the time of the handshake, Jubilee Party had the absolute majority at the National Assembly. They had absolute majority at the Senate. At the county level, Jubilee won more governors and more MCS than the NASA combined. But was the handshake really about the peace, unity, and stability? But let us give credit to what is due. The handshake brought peace into this country. It brought stability. But was it the real objective why the president reached out to his NASA counterpart? I don't think so. Of late, I'm trying to begin to think that probably President Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to take charge of 2022 politics. He wanted to control his succession politics. And the only way he could do that was to tame his deputy, William Samoei Ruto. By the time of the handshake, William Ruto's path to the presidency was very clear. He only needed the support of the president and the Deepstate, and William Ruto only needed to reach out to some NASA strongholds. That's the only thing he needed. In fact, the only thing which was standing between the DP and the presidency was the remainder of President Uhuru Kenyatta's term. Because remember, immediately after the last election, he embarked on a journey of consolidating his stronghold and also reaching out to NASA strongholds. But the president, in my considered opinion, had a different idea. The president wanted to control his 2022 succession politics. And because William Ruto was so powerful, he needed a weak deputy president. He needed a weak William Samoei Ruto. Because by having a strong William Samoei Ruto, there was no way the president was going to manage his succession politics. So he reached out to Raila Odinga for the handshake. And after reaching out to Raila Odinga for the handshake, he managed to weaken William Samoei Ruto. That's the truth. And from that point up to now, remember, the deputy president refused to embrace this handshake because he knew the game plan. And up to today, we are talking of a weak William Samoei Ruto. We can say that William Ruto is very strong, drawing crowds, but based even on the outcomes of the elections we witnessed in the past few days, it is clear that President Uhuru Kenyatta has managed to weaken the deputy president. But what about Raila Odinga? The handshake the president used to weaken the deputy president. But I've always opined on this platform that President Uhuru Kenyatta is one of the smart politicians in this country. So after the handshake, he now had Raila Odinga on his side. And Raila Odinga was also just as strong as the deputy president. He had members of parliament. Raila Odinga was controlling more regions, politically speaking, in this country than the deputy president. Than the president. He was controlling Coast. He was controlling Western. He was controlling Nyanza, Nairobi, Northeastern, the Ukambani side. So Raila Odinga was powerful, was strong. So Uhuru Kenyatta also needed a weak Raila Amolo Odinga. So in this video today, I want us to look at how President Uhuru Kenyatta's men have clearly managed to weaken Raila Amolo Odinga using two guys, using Musalia Mudavadi and using Gideon Moi. But before we do that, if you're watching this video for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time you produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. I hope you guys are enjoying some of these videos. And by dropping your comments, reading those comments, that's how I manage to create more contents. So please take a second, click that subscribe button, and also drop your comment. And to those who really value this channel, just click thumbs up button. Now back to the main issue. In politics, for you to take charge, your opponent must be weak. President Uhuru Kenyatta is actually doing that to Raila Odinga. And why do you think President Uhuru Kenyatta wants Raila Odinga, who is weak? He has managed to weaken his deputy. So today, William Ruto and his brigades are just making outside, but from very far. He was with Raila Odinga, who was very strong, but clearly he's weakening Raila Odinga. Let me just explain to you before I go into why he needs a weak Raila Odinga. In 2017-13, Raila Odinga had cost. So today, these men are bringing up Amason Kingi, and I'm going to talk about that shortly. In Western, Musalia Mudavadi is out, Moses Wetangula is out. In Ukambani, who is out? Kalonzo Musyoka. Then if you look at it critically, even within NASA, Miguna is out. Why? Miguna around Raila Odinga was going to be very, really tall. So Miguna out. Who else? People like Ndi have all gone. So we have Raila Odinga, who is now weak. But why do you think President Uhuru Kenyatta needs a weak Raila Odinga? 3 reasons. Number 1, we are going to have 2022 politics. Uhuru Kenyatta is taking charge of that process. And for him to negotiate well, he needs a weak Raila Odinga. So he has successfully managed to weaken Raila Odinga, which means even if he were to go outside there and endorse Raila Odinga today, then it will mean he can do it in his terms, on his terms. It means Raila Odinga will have to depend on him. Like today, majority of Raila Odinga supporters believe that the only way Raila Odinga can become the president of the Republic of Kenya is via the system. Who has the system? Uhuru Odinga stated that they had the system. But in Matungu general by-election, it was clear that the deep state still has that system. So by making Raila Odinga weak, it means they'll have to negotiate. So Uhuru is going to tell him, boss, we are going to put you the presidential candidate. You are going to serve 1 term. And you must have so and so as the running mate. You have to have so and so as the prime minister. Or the deputy prime minister, as per the new constitution. And as part of this, we must have an agreement. I'm going to appoint so or number of cabinet secretaries, number of ambassadors. So it's going to help him negotiate, because now Raila Odinga is going to depend entirely on the president. The second thing is that the president wants to take charge of his succession politics. If Ruto is strong, it means Ruto can go to central Kenya. It can go to any other part of the country. Then these guys might vote for him. If Raila Odinga is strong, then it means Raila Odinga can go to central Kenya, Mount Kenya region. He can go to Kambani. If he was with Kalonzo, he can go to Western. He would be strong. But being strong will mean that Uhuru will not take charge of his succession politics. So they have to be weakened. So once they're weakened, then it means Uhuru will now have influence on whoever he wants to become the next president. Today in this country, we are talking of a possibility of Gideon Moi becoming the president. We are talking about the possibility of Musalia Mudavadi becoming the president, because they are being facilitated to appear strong. Once they are strong, it means Raila Odinga is going to be weak. And number 3, why he needs a weak Raila Odinga is that by having a weak Raila Odinga, his options, Raila Odinga's options, are going to be limited. Amechukua amechukua Mudavadi, amechukua Kalonzo, amechukua Gideon Moi. Amason Kingi is also being brought on board. Because let's face it, the president is creating something he's calling party leaders. So Amason Kingi is going to be a party leader from the coast. then it's going to be put on here. So which means Raila Odinga is going to have very limited options. If he has to go to Coast, he will have to choose Joho. If he's going to Western, he will have to choose Oparanya. If he's going to Okambani, maybe Ngilu or maybe someone else. But his options are now, Raila Odinga's options are now limited. Now let me take you through this strategy. And this is how you'll appreciate that President Uhuru Kenyatta is a very shrewd politician. After the 2017 general election, the next election was going to be 2022. Uhuru Kenyatta made a covenant agreement with his deputy that is going to support him in 2022. So the first thing to do was to break that. Just like NASA, Raila Odinga also broke NASA. So the first thing was for the president to break that. How do you break that? Have the handshake, have Raila Odinga, give him more preference, the DP would be annoyed, takes a walk. So once that's achieved, the president then went on his second strategy. And the second strategy was taking control of Jubilee Party. How do you take control of Jubilee Party? Make sure that the officials are yours. They report directly to you. But William Ruto was not a pushover. In the last election, he controlled Jubilee nominations, and most of the party officials were actually allied to him, the NEC and other organs of the party. So the president then embarked on taking control of Jubilee Party. So all allies of the deputy president were kicked out. So which means William Ruto was then now ushered there, but without a party. His only prayer was then that probably Uhuru will agree to endorse him and he's going to come back to Jubilee. So once Uhuru Kenyatta took control of Jubilee Party, it became apparent that Uhuru was focused on 2022. So he now had a party, full control. He has removed all the opponents. The opponents now wako huko nje wanapiga kelele. The next strategy was to bring on board KANU. So Uhuru Kenyatta engineered a coalition agreement, post-election coalition agreement with KANU. KANU is Gideon Moi. So he did this. By doing this, it means if there was still Jubilee and there's now KANU as a partner, so if the Uhuru was to meet Gideon, it would be under the banner of party leaders. And then he went further and elevated some of these guys, some of Gideon Moi's people in parliament, they give an appointment here and there, things like those. So that was his second strategy. Then he went to his third strategy, which is being executed today. That strategy was a strategy of elevating the profiles of NASA principals. Let's face it, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, Moses Wetangula, without the support of Raila Odinga, without the support of the president, or without even the support of Gideon Moi, cannot move anything in this country. Those are some of the realities we must live with. So these guys embarked on a journey of elevating these guys. And as fate would have it, we had 2 by-elections. So they used these 2 by-elections to allow these guys to stamp their authorities in their respective regions. So yesterday, ANC party wrote a very arrogant letter to the ODM party over the Matungu by-election. That letter also addressed the issue of UDA party in the by-election. So which means these guys are now elevated. They now feel they own those regions. And once they are elevated, then now we go to the execution of the plan. And something tells me that the handshake, the plan to weaken Ruto, was actually engineered using David Murade. And Uhuru is now done with that. He's in the next phase of weakening Raila Odinga using the Building Bridges Initiative process. And this is being executed by Karanja Kibicho. Who is Karanja Kibicho? If the president wants to remove Karanja Kibicho today, he would do that. But I strongly believe that the BBI is now Uhuru Kenyatta's project of weakening Raila Odinga. Now, this is how it's being done. Raila Odinga carried the burden of the Building Bridges Initiative process. In fact, if it had failed, two people would have carried that burden, Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. I am sure Musalia Mudavadi and his party would have called for a press conference to call for another consensus, something like that. So BBI passed at the county assemblies. Then Uhuru decided, let me use this to bring on these guys and weaken Raila Odinga. Because Raila Odinga was going to carry the success of the Building Bridges Initiative process. And remember, it was going to be carried until the next election. The president, in his own wisdom, then invited these other guys to a meeting. And in the meeting, they are called party leaders. Remember, we have other several party leaders who are not in these meetings. So now they're owning the BBI process. To an extent that yesterday, Wiper Party was challenging Raila Odinga to step aside. And I was like, step aside from what? Raila Odinga is not anything in these countries, politically speaking. So the president is currently using the Building Bridges Initiative process to weaken Raila Odinga by having these guys now sitting together to discuss BBI. If the BBI is going to pass, all of them are going to take credit. The credit is not going to go to Raila Odinga. Like during the Oranges, it went to Raila Odinga, and that's what propelled Raila Odinga to the presidency. But let me tell you one thing. President Uhuru Kenyatta is not keen on disbanding the handshake. He can't do that. He can't have Ruto, he can't have Raila on one side. So he's likely to use this just to help him negotiate or take charge of the Building Bridges Initiative process. I don't know what you think. Let me hear your thoughts on this matter. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.